Hi everyone! My name is Katy, and thank you for joining me for another Animal Crossing video. I'm back just in time for Halloween, and it only seemed appropriate that I do one of my favorite builds. I'm going to be creating a cul-de-sac neighborhood all decorated for trick-or-treaters. So, let's get started. I will have timestamps down below for all of the different steps of this build. I actually had to go back and rewatch my original cul-de-sac tutorial to remind myself of all the details for how to make these neighborhoods and to reference the original guide that I made. So I'll have that linked below if you're looking for a more in-depth tutorial on cul-de-sacs. Thanks, by the way, for all the love on that video. I'm really glad it's been helpful to a lot of you. So, to get started, I of course had to map out my neighborhood. I am just on some random piece of land on my unfinished island of Polyphia. I didn't have to be too cautious of my spacing, but if you're actually building this on your island, you're going to want to put more thought into where each of these houses are, where your cul-de-sac is going to end, what it's next to, what's behind it, all those things. But for this video, I didn't have to do any of that, so I just got started with my grid. Now, this is the grid I was referencing. I made this for my original cul-de-sac tutorial, and it's very helpful for me when putting together these neighborhoods. Basically, I just map out with the terrain paint for however many squares that I need between the houses, and then I mark out the area for the house. And it's pretty easy once you know how many spaces you're counting for, and ultimately you'll end up with something looking like this. I went in and I erased those middle grid parts so that when I lay down my pathing, I won't have random pieces of dirt underneath them. And then I go in and start with the actual path. As always, I'm using this amazing path by Colin Crossing. He is one of my favorite creators for custom codes, and I love all of his paths. And I used this one last Halloween and I love it. So I decided to use it again for this video. Again, I'm following the same steps as my tutorial, but basically I start with the square pieces, and then I do the outer diagonals, and then the inner, and I just kind of keep filling in each of the pieces until it is fully complete. And Kyle was hanging around with me this whole build, which is pretty cute because he is one of the villagers that I ultimately decided to move into this island temporarily, specifically for this build. He's my husband's favorite Animal Crossing villager, so I really love him for that, and it was just funny that he was hanging out with me this whole time while I'm putting together his little neighborhood. I find this whole process of laying down the paths and doing it in a specific order to be so therapeutic and calming. And honestly, this is my favorite part about creating cul-de-sacs, which is kind of random, but I love it. It feels like a puzzle, and it's very rewarding once you're finished laying down all the pathing and you have a complete cul-de-sac and it looks really good. So I really enjoy doing this part of the whole process. And then I made this little connecting sidewalk and path. This isn't actually going to connect to anything, but just so it didn't look like a random cul-de-sac in the middle of nowhere, which it kind of is, but anyway, so I'm done. Kyle is still here hanging out and it looks great, so let's get these houses moved in. So like I said, I moved 3 villagers into the island specifically for this build. One of them is Kyle, and I put him in the middle in the back so that he could have a larger yard. Then I also put in Kiki and then Poppy. I was excited to have them all on the island temporarily, and give them the ultimate fall yard. So then I got started decorating, and I went in with my trusted doormats and more of the Call Crossing codes. I'll have all the codes listed down below as always. And I used the leaf pathing for this cul-de-sac. I've never done that before, but I just wanted something a little bit different. I think it looks cute. It's a bit busy, honestly, but it's fun. It's very fall, and the leaves around my house have been changing like so beautifully, and I love looking out the window and seeing all the colors, and that's what this reminded me of, so I was pretty excited to use it here. So I just make a little connecting path of the secondary path, in this case the leaves, that kind of connects to the cul-de-sac, obviously not completely connects. And Call Crossing, his path layout has these little corner squares that fill in the diagonals on the bottom, but I just cover those up with a leaf pile so I don't have to be too concerned about erasing those when I lay down the leaf pathing. And then I put some fencing around the yards. I'm using this lattice fence, which I really love. It's so sweet looking, and I don't really know why, but it is giving fall vibes to me, and I really like it for neighborhoods, so I was happy to go with this one. Once I have that done, I started placing down some items and getting some ideas of what I wanted in the different yards. For Kyle, on the right side, I wanted to have like an outdoor movie watching area, I guess. And I really love how this turned out. It's so cozy and cute, and all of the fall colors make it look even better. So I used those ottomans and the projector and some fairy lights, and eventually I put down a rug. It's very cozy. I love it. In the middle of the cul-de-sac, I put down the pumpkin carriage to give maximum pumpkin core vibes. And I also used some curved streetlights. I wanted to use a lot of the 2.0 items, but I don't really know if I did. I used some, obviously, but I almost forget which items are 2.0 these days because we've had it for like a year now. Then I just put out some candy dishes at each of the houses. I love doing this for my trick-or-treat neighborhoods. And I also put down some city town core kinds of items like the trash bins, the fire hydrant, and so on. And then I just went to town on the yards. I gave Poppy a little pumpkin patch area. I gave him a lot of the spooky items, the pumpkin items, and some more yard work kind of items. And then for Kiki, eventually she gets this kind of witchy bakery, potentially inspired a bit by Kiki's delivery service. But yeah, I really like how hers turned out because I love that witchy cauldron that we have in the game. So basically I just kept adding items. I went back and forth between Poppy and Kiki a lot, putting down different pumpkins and the different food items for Kiki, the different farming kinds of items for Poppy. Eventually, I went in with some trees and some hedges to round out the whole neighborhood feel. And then I added more pumpkins, of course. You can never have too many pumpkins in a trick-or-treat neighborhood, I think. I have my house decorated right now with so many pumpkins. It's a bit wild, but I love it. I love it so, so much. So I was just fiddling around with the different items over here for Kiki and making it look real cute. The food items are always some of my favorite items to use, and this was no different. especially those Halloween cookies and the pumpkin bakery items. They are so cute. I just love them so much. They look delicious. And then for Poppy, again, I'm just putting down different pumpkin items, some kind of farmy yard work type of items. And then I got to work on Kyle's left side. Like I mentioned, Kyle reminds me of my husband, and my husband's favorite anime is Haikyuu, or at least one of his favorites. And I've never used the volleyball items in the game before, so I wanted to give him a little outdoor volleyball area. And with the leaves on the ground, I just think it's so cozy and cute. And I was happy to have a reason to use those items. On the right side here, I ended up putting down the cutest pumpkin quilt in the world. I absolutely love how it looks, especially with the ottomans and the movie projector on top. So I love that code so much. I also love that round space heater, so I had to have it here too. And then I just added a few more touches overall for the different builds, like a record player, more pumpkins, of course, some orange flowers, leaf piles, a bike, that beautiful new bike that I still obsess with, especially in this orange. Ooh, chef's kiss, I love it. And I also love that scooter, so I had to add that as well. And I kind of finished things off here with a garden bench and switching around a few things, but I'm basically done. Alright everyone, thank you so much for watching. How cute is Kiki enjoying her new neighborhood? I really hope that you enjoyed this. Depending on when you're watching, I hope that you had or have a wonderful Halloween. I enjoyed playing Animal Crossing this week, so I'm glad that you joined me for this one. If you did like it, I'd really appreciate if you could like and subscribe. I've been playing a lot of video games that aren't Animal Crossing recently, and I'm considering posting videos of those, but that makes me very anxious, so we'll see. But either way, I always really appreciate your support. And I hope that you and yours are staying safe, happy, and healthy. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.